Hey guys, today we'll be comparing three different overdrive pedals. Yes, so I have three overdrive pedals here, all of which are considered relatively transparent overdrive pedals. And I know transparent is a buzzword that gets thrown around a lot online these days when it comes to overdrive pedals, but I think most people online would probably agree that these three are transparent. Even more so than the Klon Centaur, which a lot of people says is transparent, but actually isn't that transparent. It actually does add a little bit of a mid hump, just not as much as a tube screamer. But these three are, I think, many people would consider these some of the most transparent pedals and circuits on the market. So what do we have? We have the Snouse Blackbox Overdrive 2. This is a clone of the Marshall Bluesbreaker, the first edition, but it's actually based on a specific revision of that one, I believe. And then the guy who made this is this is a one-man shop, I believe, Snouse Electric Company. It's very much so a boutique pedal. They're handmade one at a time. You have to get on a wait list in order to get one. He actually, added a lot more improvements on the Bluesbreaker circuit, gave it more gain and everything, more controls, and yeah. Overall, there's a lot of Bluesbreaker circuits online from different pedal companies that's been inspired by it. I think most notably the Analog Man, King of Tone or Prince of Tone, and MXR Duke of Tone, which are same thing as the Prince of Tone, and the JHS Morning Glory, I think, are probably the other two most famous ones. But I actually did I never had a JHS Morning Glory, so I can't compare to that one, but when I did an Overdrive shootout in my previous video, I compared the Blackbox Overdrive 2 to the MXR Duke of Tone, which is the same pedal as the Analog Man Prince of Tone, and I found I liked the Blackbox Overdrive a little bit better. Just didn't really find that the MXR Duke of Tone is a versatile pedal as well. I just didn't find that any of its modes really interested me that much. Yeah, it just didn't sound that great to me. None of the modes really sounded as great as my other overdrive pedals. And yeah, comparing to the Blackbox Overdrive, I preferred this one more. Has more gain on tap, I believe, as well. There even has like dip switches. In fact, I have the original. This is the original Blackbox Overdrive 2 papers that came with it for Snouse. So yeah, so standard mode, actually you have internal dip switches in there. So you have a standard high gain mode, which is I think this is the default mode, and then you have classic mode, which is more like the classic Bluesbreaker circuit. And then you have the clean boost mode, so you can actually modify it to be a clean boost as well. So these are actually kind of things that you would find from the Analog Man Prince of Tone as well, which also has the boost, overdrive, and distortion mode, which I guess would be kind of what these three represent. It has it on the outside, but I just find like the Blackbox Overdrive 2 just sounded a little bit better to me than the Duke of Tone, just in my opinion. Yeah, and it seems to have a little bit more range on tap, especially with this presence control. I really like this presence control because it adds back in a lot of the highs and stuff that the Bluesbreaker circuit kind of inserts a little bit, a little bit of low end into my tone. I find like this presence control is really useful for taming that. Just show you guys what what's inside this paper. So yeah, it is one guy. He even has an email. He tells you to email him. Blackbox Overdrive 2 features 3 switchable 100% analog, completely hardwired modes. Again, I would think that these three are pretty much equivalent to not the same, but equivalent to the 3 different modes on the Analog Man Prince of Tone or MXR Duke of Tone. So you have basically a high gain mode, which is like the highest gain distortion mode, classic low gain, which is I guess the normal overdrive mode, and clean boost, which is a boost mode. So yeah, you can see employs a tube emulating variable JFET, clean boost. I mean, after all, the Bluesbreaker circuit is designed to be amp in a box, basically. So it's designed to emulate the sound of the Marshall Bluesbreaker. So nowadays people think of the Bluesbreaker as just another overdrive circuit that's been widely copied, but actually it is an amp in a box. You got to remember that. It's trying to it's trying to emulate the circuit of the Marshall Bluesbreaker amp. So yeah, that's what it does here. Offers a powerful tone selection, features a presence knob. So this is the cool thing about this one, is it features that presence knob, which I don't think this feature is in other Bluesbreaker clones. I could be wrong, but this seems to be something that's special about the Blackbox too, is it has that presence knob. Yeah. Also, it's funny. It says, "Not for human consumption. Please do not eat your Blackbox." It's funny. And it's a good, oh, it loves a good buffer as well. Okay, I guess it's a true bypass pedal, right? So yeah, you have the controls here. So the boost is only active in standard high gain boost mode. Controls the amount of preamp boost that hits the input of overdrive section. Presence controls top end treble. Yeah, so and then bright smooth internal. So there's another internal switch here, set to smooth the upper mid range. So a lot of things you can do just by playing around with this pedal. Drive circuit itself cuts a bit of low end. Boost completely transparent. Okay, cool. A lot of things you can do with this pedal. It's a fairly versatile overdrive pedal, and many people consider the Bluesbreaker circuit a transparent overdrive. I'm not sure if it's actually that transparent, because when I use the Bluesbreaker type pedals, I always get a little bit of low end added into my tone. So I'm not sure how transparent it actually is, but that's what people say. So yeah, the Blackbox Overdrive 2 is going to be one of the pedals in this video. I already covered it in another video as well. Again, out of all the Bluesbreaker pedals, I think the Blackbox Overdrive 2 is my favorite so far. Then the MXR Timmy, which is based on a boutique pedal, originally hand-built by one guy, Paul Cochran. So they actually made a mass-produced version. By the way, I forgot to talk about the price. Blackbox Overdrive 2, brand new, it costs $150 US, but you have to go on a wait list. And because the wait list is, you have to wait for your pedal and stuff, I just bought mine online, and I think I got mine for $160 US. Although you can find them for like up to $200. Some people sell them for $200 because these Blackbox Overdrive pedals are fairly high in demand. I would say similar to the Analog Man type pedals. Yeah, I would say it's just like the Analog Man Prince of Tone. These pedals can be pretty high in demand because they're just built by one person at a time. Okay, the MXR Timmy. I don't actually know what the original Timmy price was, but this retails for $150 brand new. You can find them used for roughly $110, which makes these a really good deal, actually, because the MXR Timmy is one of my favorite overdrive pedals because it's so versatile, and it is very transparent. And I know that word is weird, but it's like one of those overdrive pedals that like, it doesn't color your tone, like it doesn't really. It adds gain and it adds boost, but it does it in a way where your tone isn't like drastically affected. So that's what I want to say. And on top of that, so you have 4 knobs: bass, gain, volume, and treble on here. And you have 3 different settings: the bass, which is an asymmetrical clipping, and then clip, which is symmetrical clipping but with high headroom, I think. Oh no, low headroom and high light saturation. No, wait a minute. No, high headroom, light saturation, my bad. And then this gain setting, which is heavy saturation and low headroom. Yeah. So basically, you can think of this, these two settings, the bass and the clip setting, I think are lower gain settings, and this gain setting is basically a higher gain setting. So the switch makes it so that it's very versatile. You can get a lot of range out of this. It doesn't exactly go into very like high distortion range, but for a light to medium gain overdrive, Timmy's really nice, and it really is one of those most transparent overdrives where it doesn't color your tone that much, only gives you a lot of boost and gain. So that's why I like to use the Timmy. I think this actually might be replacing my boost pedal. I used to use a boost pedal, but then I thought, oh, why not just get an MXR Timmy, because you can use it as a boost and it's fairly transparent, and it does a lot more than just boost your signal if you want it to. So yeah, anyways, very versatile pedal. I'm glad that MXR did a version of this, because yeah, the original pedal made by Paul Cochran, like I said, it might be just like with the Blackbox where it's like very high in demand and stuff, because he's making them one at a time. That actually brings me to this last pedal here, which is another pedal that's made one at a time. This is very much a boutique pedal. So this one probably the least well known out of these 3, I would say, but this one is called the Fairfield Barbershop Millennium Overdrive. So this is made by a Canadian company, actually, in Fairfield Circuitry. I'm not sure how many people work there. Might be just 1 or 2 people. Pretty small boutique company. This pedal looks very, very boutique already. So this circuit is actually a unique circuit, just like with the Timmy. These two are actually unique circuits. This one's based on the Bluesbreaker. And many people who have this pedal love it. They say it's one of the most transparent pedals they've ever owned. This is a new pedal for me. I think the only really new one out of the ones in this video. So I'm really curious to try this one. 3 knobs, volume, drive, and sag. Sag is an interesting one because I think this is unique to this pedal here. Sag actually duplicates, it actually controls the amount of voltage flowing to the pedal, because pedals can actually react differently depending on the amount of voltage fed to it. So a lot of older pedals, they react differently based on the amount of battery juice left in it, for example. I know fuzz faces really react well to that. So the sag control is interesting. I think this is something that's unique to this circuit here, the barbershop circuit. So yeah, I want to play around with this knob. Seems very interesting. You can control the amount of like bias or whatever voltage that this pedal gets, and it'll change the tone a lot. Handmade one at a time in Canada. I think these are $200 brand new US, but I got this for $175. So it's definitely still the most expensive out of these, but yeah, I'm curious to try it out. This tone control right here, in the middle it doesn't change anything, but then when you go to the right, it cuts the high end a little bit, and then if you go to the left, it cuts the high end a lot, is what I'm reading. So yeah, we'll check that out. So yeah, these are 3 of the transparent overdrives I wanted to test in this video. I know there's a lot more. I don't have the budget, to keep buying these kind of pedals, but some other ones I just want to mention. Obviously, the MXR Duke of Tone is another fairly transparent pedal. I just prefer the Blackbox Overdrive over it. Overdrive 2, I should say, because I like to have this presence knob. One I would really like to try is the Greer Lightspeed, but that one's like $200. It's really hard to find one for cheap, and yeah, it seems to be very transparent and good for light gain. However, it doesn't seem to be as versatile as the Timmy. So I think I would choose the Timmy over the Greer Lightspeed just because from what I've heard, basically from the demos I've heard online, the Lightspeed seems to have a little bit more high end than the Timmy, but it's not as versatile as the Timmy, and it's more expensive. Another one I want to mention is the Wampler Euphoria, a pedal I used to have. That was a really nice overdrive pedals, fairly transparent, and it's got a decent amount of range. It goes anywhere from light gain all the way up to medium-ish to high gain. Actually, a little bit of high gain, because it's actually trying to on some settings on some settings it sounds like more like a Timmy. On other settings it sounds more like a Dumble type overdrive. So the Wampler Euphoria is another one I have to mention. Yeah. That one I don't have anymore because I actually got superseded by my Holy Grail overdrive, but I do have to mention it because I love that pedal. The Wampler Euphoria is so underrated. Not many people mention it when they talk about transparent overdrives, and they really should, because it's a great pedal. JHS Morning Glory, I don't have that pedal. I know it's a fairly transparent pedal and it's very popular and famous. I don't have it, and again, I think I would just stick with the Blackbox Overdrive if I want a Bluesbreaker circuit. And I just have to mention this, the Klon is not a transparent overdrive, okay? This is the Tumnus, it's a Klon type circuit. It actually adds a bit of mid-range to your tone. It's like a bit of a mid-range hump. So it does add a bit of a mid-hump to your tone. You can blend in the clean control. That's the kind of unique thing about the Klon Centaur. You can blend in the clean control, and I think that's what makes it sound clean, but it actually, this is actually a hard clipper, and it's not exactly a transparent pedal. Many people think that the Klon is. It's actually not. It's just, it doesn't have as big of a mid-range boost as a Tube Screamer. Isn't like that. And it has a clean control blend. That's why it sounds like it's transparent, but it actually isn't. But yeah, these 3 pedals I would think is more transparent than that. Okay, another overdrive I have to mention, because it is getting pretty popular recently, is the Nobel's ODR1. Nobel's ODR1 is a very unique circuit. I don't have it. I know it's a unique circuit, and it's not a transparent pedal. It's a pedal that's fairly full range, I would say. It goes from light grit all the way up to fairly near distortion level, I would say, fairly high gain. So yeah, that's another interesting circuit. I don't have the Nobel's ODR1. Maybe someday I might try it. But yeah, that's not a transparent pedal. It's just a unique circuit, and it's a fairly full range overdrive. So yeah, and it has a decent amount of gain on tap, but yeah, not going to be in this video. So that's it. So my testing equipment, my amp is a Keeley Supro, or Supro Keeley I should say. It's a fairly clean pedal platform amp, fairly neutral. When I don't have pedals plugged in, and I'm using a GNL ASAP Special, which has two single coil magnetic field design pickups. So let's hear my clean tone. That's my clean tone in the middle position. Okay, we're gonna go, actually let's go left to right here this time. So yeah, Blackbox Overdrive 2. Let's start out with this one. So everything at noon, let's press it up. Up my tone. So it doesn't change my tone all that much, but I do hear a little bit of added low end, and that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the blues breaker style circuits. It's not completely transparent. It does add in a low end. So hear this without. It's clean. And yeah, this. Fairly transparent for an overdrive pedal, but not totally, because I do hear that adds some low end. So yeah, the thing with the Blackbox Overdrive 2, and this is on the default high gain setting, it actually goes fairly high gain. So I can turn up the gain like yeah, it actually goes into light distortion territory. So yeah, this pedal is actually pretty high. And then if I add in, this is the boost, right? The preamp boost. Yeah, we'll just add in more of a clean boost punch to that, and then more presence action. I really like this presence knob because, like I said, this adds a little bit of low end to my tone. If I just crank up the presence, then it'll add back in that. Now that you have the presence knob, you turn it up, and there's your high and back. So, and it's actually noticeable to me because I play single coils a lot. So when I turn on a blues breaker type circuit like this, I just hear a little bit of added low end, and I don't really like it. So then I use the presence knob, and then bam, there's my high and back. Then it's actually really nice and transparent then. Now, so yeah, so again, clean tone. Add back in. Turned up, it sounds pretty much identical to my original signal, just pushed up, right? So yeah, and that's exactly what you look for in a transparent type overdrive. Not coloring your tone too much, just something that pushes up the gain, adds light. This is like something that adds light gain, right, to medium gain. So adds a bit of light, medium gain to it, and some boost as well. So yeah, I mean, just the Blackbox having that presence knob is why I prefer it over the other blues breaker style circuits, so I preferred it over the Prince of Tone / Duke of Tone, and probably the Morning Glory as well, from what I've heard of it. Oh yes, another pedal I forgot to mention is the Vemurum Jan Ray. The Vemurum Jan Ray, I'm not sure how unique the circuit is. It seems to be unique, I think. But the issue with the Vemurum Jan Ray is that it's super expensive. So it's a fairly transparent pedal, light overdrive and stuff. I really like the sounds from what I've heard online. But the problem with the Vemurum Jan Ray is that it's like $350 US. So that's like the price of 2 of these combined, right? I can't justify buying that Jan Ray. The most I ever spent on a pedal is probably $300. That's for the that's because I have the G-Town Holy Grail. This is like $300, and it's only that high because of the fact that this is handmade by a guy in Russia who couldn't export it during the Russian-Ukraine kind of boycott thing. So yeah, $300 is the most I ever paid for a pedal. So unfortunately, I don't have the Vemurum Jan Ray to compare. That would be another pedal that's interesting, but it's just so expensive. It's a Japanese boutique company. Alright, so that's Blackbox Overdrive 2. As you guys can see, it's this is a really nice pedal because it's fairly transparent, especially with the presence knob. You can add back your highs in, and it can go fairly, high gain as well, up to light distortion territory. So that's nice. And I covered this in another video if you guys want to hear more of that. Now the MXR Timmy, which I also covered in another video. What I like about this one, it's also super versatile, and it's in such a compact enclosure too. So again, it's my light. So turn on the MXR Timmy. It immediately thickens up my tone, but we're gonna dial back the bass so that we don't have to add it low end. That's better. That's very transparent. So yeah, the MXR Timmy is nice. It's just a boost, right? And you can go almost totally clean boost here. If I just dial back down the gain, just dial up the volume a little bit, and then so this is my clean sound. Hear that? That's pretty much almost no coloring on the tone, just a clean boost. So if I wanted to be a clean boost, I can just dial back the gain, and yeah, dial up the volume. So this is on the standard symmetrical clipping high headroom setting, which is actually the best for boost. If I want to have the asymmetrical clipping, I could do this. So this is a symmetrical setting with high headroom. And then symmetrical setting, asymmetrical setting. And then the higher gain setting, I guess. The MXR Timmy actually has a decent amount of gain on top, not like a lot, but a decent amount. So let's turn that up. Again, high headroom. Higher gain. More if I turn up the gain of the Blackbox. Yeah, but dial up the gain on here. Fairly similar. Both of these can get decent amount of medium gain tones out of it, even up to light distortion levels. So yeah, both of these I would say are fairly transparent type pedals. They're more meant for light gain to medium gain. So don't get these if you're gonna play high gain stuff. Basically, you just get a distortion or fuzz if that's the case. But yeah, these two will definitely get you some good medium to light to medium gain without affecting your tone too much, because they're relatively transparent. All right, now I'm really interested about this one, the Fairfield Barbershop. Yeah, let's just check it out. So again, it's my clean tone. So what I noticed is, unlike these two circuits, this one doesn't really. So it actually even increases the clarity of this. So again, clear tone. Yeah, it's interesting. I think it even increases the high end a little bit, or the high upper mid range. Not sure. So it's definitely relatively transparent, but yeah, I can definitely hear some tonal enhancements. It's maybe similar to what I was hearing with the Greer Lightspeed, adding that extra top end to the tone. So I forgot to play. Let's back up. Play this. Right now, let's try out the Barbershop. Interesting. Yeah, it definitely adds a little bit of something to the tone. It's still transparent. That doesn't affect my tone all that much. Yeah, but it's definitely adding a little bit top end or something like that. So interestingly, if I want to cut the top end, I can cut it a little bit by putting the tone knob this way. So actually, again, this is the normal in the middle position. Cutting it a little bit. You guys heard a little bit more low end. If I really want to cut the high end, I go this way. It cuts a lot of high end. I personally don't like this setting because it sounds way too muffled. So it cuts off almost all my high end at this setting. You guys can't hear it's muffled. Yeah, way too muffled in this setting. If I just want to cut a little bit, then so in this setting, it sounds very close to the blues breaker type circuit, I would say, because since you're cutting a little bit of high end, it's essentially almost like adding a little bit low end, which is something that the blues breaker circuit does. So just comparison here. So I have the presence knob. Yeah, this is like originally without no presence knob. Similar to this. Now this still has more high end if I cut it a lot. Turn the presence down, obviously. Yeah, I think I just think this switch in this position is almost unusable for me because it cuts too much high end. Sounds very muffled. No, the blues breaker circuit won't cut that much. So in this setting, cutting a little bit of high end sounds almost like turning the presence knob up a bit on the Blackbox. So it's like this. that's the same as turning up the presence knob even more, because it's not cutting that much higher than yeah, so that's pretty similar. I would say it sounds to me fairly similar to the Blackbox Overdrive 2, depending on the setting, right? So like, yeah, basically this setting is the same thing as putting out the presence knob on the Blackbox. If I turn it this way, then that's like dialing back down the presence to about here, and then this is basically, to me, almost unusable. There's nothing on the Blackbox that sounds that muffled. So anyways, pretty interesting, Fairfield Barbershop. So if I turn up the drive on here, what does it sound like? Now the sag control is interesting. So right now I have the sag about middle. So if I turn it up to full, or I turn it up this way, this way. Sounds very different. It just sounds very thin if I turn down the... Yeah, it just sounds very thin in this setting, wow. Too thin in this setting. I don't want it that way, okay. Yeah, even when I turn up the volume and drive to full, turning down the sag, it just loses a lot of the volume and everything. Okay, interesting. So when I turn the sag down, it just... Yeah, I guess that's trying to duplicate starving the pedal from voltage or something like that. But if I do this, it's almost like the volume and drive doesn't even affect it much anymore. It just sounds thin no matter what. I mean, sure, it's transparent still, but it's very thin sounding. Yeah, so I had to leave the sag up, I think. Sag all the way up. That's very thick sounding. So this thing can get pretty high gain out of it as well. Let's see if I turn the gain up here, and I put the gain up here as well. Let's see if which one actually does have the highest gain. Let's see. So I think I got to turn the sag up, because if I turn the sag down, which is one of the main features of this pedal, it just sounds too thin for me. So I'm going to turn that up. Turn drive up and then keep the volume. I just want to see how much gain these have on tap. So Blackbox Overdrive at full gain and medium volume. So that's at full gain. Timmy at full gain and at gain position. Okay, and then Barbershop at full gain. Okay, different sound. I would say these, yeah, they're all different. Barbershop is interesting. It's definitely a different circuit. I can hear that. It has more clarity, I would say. I don't know if it has more clarity compared to these two overall. I haven't tried the Greer Lightspeed. I heard the Greer Lightspeed does the same thing, but yeah, it definitely has more clarity to the tone compared to these other ones. So, anyways, yeah, let's just back down. I think you guys have heard a lot of tonal variations. I think you can definitely make these sound close to each other. That's for sure. They're all reasonably transparent. You can definitely make them sound close to each other if you dial in the right settings. So they're all like kind of overlapping with each other. But yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot to do the... Okay, so once again, just so you guys hear the differences side by side. Clean tone. Blackbox. Good for Timmy, middle position. And the barbershop. Alright, so you might be asking why I have so many transparent overdrive pedals. Well, transparent overdrive pedals are great for stacking. Once stacked on top of each other, you still don't fundamentally change that much of your tone, but you get progressively higher and higher gain. So instead of just getting one distortion pedal that's that's super high gain and everything, give an example. Like instead of using my Kili Alray Dorado, which is more of a distortion pedal, I can choose to use a combination of transparent overdrives to instead get that type of tone. I know it's more pedals, but it's also more versatile as well, right? So you shape your tone more. So let's do Barbershop and Timmy. Interesting. Barbershop and Blackbox. I'm not sure which combination I like the best. They're all a little bit different. Yeah, all I have to say that the barbershop sounds pretty unique to me. It's transparent, but it's almost like it has more clarity. So I think I haven't compared the Greer Lightspeed. Again, that's another comparison I would probably make, but sounds like it's transparent but adds more clarity compared to these two. These two, fairly similar, I would say, in terms of the sounds you can get. Timmy might have a wider range. I think the Timmy might be the most versatile out of all these pedals. Just it has so much range to it. Yeah, I mean, I think that's all I have to say is that the Timmy has a lot of range. The Barbershop is just a unique sounding pedal, I guess. Although I actually don't like two things about this pedal. Is that if you turn the sag down, it sounds very thin, which I don't like, and if you put the switch to the left, it's basically unusable for me because it cuts off too much highs. I don't know when I would ever use that. And then the Blackbox is just a great sounding blues breaker circuit. This one, if you're looking for light gain transparent type of pedal, the MXR and the Overdrive, Blackbox Overdrive 2 are both good. If I say I had to pick one between all of these, I'd probably still pick the MXR Timmy, just because it has the most range, and I think most of the Blackbox Overdrive 2 sounds I can get from the Timmy. Most, but not all. But that's not to say the Blackbox Overdrive isn't versatile. It is. Just I think the Timmy just has this crazy amount of range on it. So yeah, I would say this. Yeah, Barbershop, it's different. It's a different kind of transparent overdrive. So it's unique in its own way. I'm not sure if I necessarily like it more than these two, but it's unique, I can say that. MXR Timmy, I like it because it's very versatile and it's the cheapest out of all these. And great for stacking, all of these are great for stacking, they're transparent, but yeah, very, very versatile, has a huge range on it. Blackbox Overdrive 2, also versatile. Yeah, they're both very versatile. If I had to pick one, I'd probably go with the Timmy a little bit more. It might have a little bit more range, but it's close between these two. So yeah, and I would say these two are probably a bit more similar than this one to either of these two. So that's pretty much it. Let me know if you guys have any comments or questions about these overdrives. I know I just demoed like one riff and basically just that on each of these, but I hope that's enough for you guys to hear the tonal differences. That's the main reason. Not necessarily a demo of using the overdrive, but I want to demo the differences between these overdrives. That's probably more my goal here. So yeah, I'm not going to play like a full song or anything like that. You can find other YouTube videos about that. I just want to tell you guys about the differences between these two. So that's pretty much it. I can play another riff using it actually. Just neck position. Yeah. highs a little bit. Stack it. Yeah, all really nice, different transparent overdrives. Again, I think all these pedals are great. It just depends on what your needs are. Again, if I were to pick one, and if I had to choose one, I would choose the Timmy, but that's not to say that all these other ones are not good. That's just my personal preference. So the Barbershop, as you guys can tell, is probably the most boutique looking out of all of them because it's very, very simple looking. Like, it's just a simple industrial design. That's it. Like, you can tell this was made by hand by one guy probably. Another thing that you'll notice that even when I'm stacking all three of these transparent overdrives together is that they still keep their dynamic response, right? So you can still hear my pick attack, my string articulation, all that is still relatively kept intact. Like, it doesn't get too muddy or anything like that. Like, usually if you stack like any normal, like three normal overdrives together, it's gonna get like chaotic, right? It's gonna sound muddy and everything. It's gonna be like, yeah, it's gonna be crazy. But with these three transparent overdrives, you can stack any of them with each other or all of them together. You still keep that sense of dynamicness or pick attack, that articulation. So I think that's another thing I like about these three overdrives. They're all fairly transparent, I would say, and as a result, you can kind of just, it's very versatile, right? You can just use them in any order. You can stack them, tweak them, and you'll still keep the main your main guitar tone, right? It won't change that too much, which is also good for your other pedals, right? You can layer other pedals on top of it. If you really want to color your tone, you can put a tube screamer on it or anything like that. Or an EQ pedal, should you choose to do that. And that's the great thing about these transparent overdrives. Why are transparent overdrives so popular? Well, because you can layer a whole bunch of other sounds on top of it and still, yeah, you still keep your guitar tone, relatively speaking. So yeah, that gives you a good canvas to add other sounds onto it. I think that's why people always go for these quote-unquote transparent overdrives. So another note, I want to talk about the Blackbox versus the Timmy. I said that the Timmy is a bit more versatile, and that's partly because the settings for the Timmy are actually easy to access right in front of the pedal. It's got that three-way switch right on top of the pedal, whereas for the Blackbox, in order to access the settings, you actually have to take apart the bottom of the pedal to get to the dip switches, which is kind of a hassle. So for the Blackbox, just in this current configuration, the Blackbox 2, I would say, is not as versatile as a Timmy. I mean, it could be, but you have to take it apart and then change the settings there, which is kind of a hassle and troublesome, right? So I know that Blackbox actually has a few different configurations. So Snouse actually released the top-end configuration is actually called the Stage 2 mod or Stage 2 Pro, I think. So that version of the Blackbox has all the switches mounted externally. So in that case, then it is easier to access those settings, and then it could be just as versatile as a Timmy, maybe even more. But that version does cost a bit more. So given the fact that the Blackbox has wait times, if you want to get a Stage 2 Pro version, probably is going to run you about $200 at least. So yeah, significantly more expensive than an MXR Timmy. So yeah, basically I just want to mention that choosing the Timmy based on the current configuration of the Blackbox Overdrive 2, which I do have. I don't have the Stage 2 Pro version. That mod version, yeah, it's a lot more, it's more difficult to get, and it's more expensive. However, if you do have that version, then it's also quite versatile as well. Maybe as much or more so than the Timmy. So yeah, I would just say the MXR Timmy in its current state is more versatile compared to the Blackbox I have in its current state. But I haven't tried that Stage 2 Pro mod yet. I think that one has an extra switch as well, kind of like a deep tight switch or something like that. So yeah, definitely that one's quite versatile. So I'm not saying that the Blackbox can't be more versatile, but you do have to pay up more if you want to get those extra external switches. So another transparent pedal I want to throw into this video is the Wampler Euphoria. This is one of my favorite overdrive pedals, period. I've had it for a long time, since 2016 actually, and yeah, it's just a very, very versatile pedal. What I love about it is that it is transparent in the sense that it doesn't change the core of your guitar tone too much, but it can also get into much higher gain. And actually it's marketed more as a D-style pedal, Dumble style pedal, or Dumble in a box, but it actually isn't. It's quite different than, like, say a Shin Dumbleoid or a Hermida Zen Drive. Like, those are actually Dumble in a box type pedals. The Euphoria can get similar to those type of tones, but it's also more like a Timmy as well. And yeah, in the sense that it's very versatile and transparent. So that's why I have these two to compare as well in this video. I do want to compare the MXR Timmy to the Wampler Euphoria, because I feel like both of these are quite versatile, transparent overdrive pedals. The Euphoria does have a little bit more gain on tap, which I'll show you guys. So yeah, again, this is my clean tone. I have a Fender Stratocaster going into a Super Achille. Let's brightness on that and add a little bit of reverb. Can hear. This is just my clean tone right now without any of the overdrives on. And then with the actually with the MXR Timmy on. And this is in the clip setting here. If I turn to the bass setting, and yeah. And then in the gain setting here. So yeah, just like with the MXR Timmy, the Euphoria has similar controls. So the Timmy has bass, gain, volume, and treble, and the bass setting, the bass dial is actually adding more bass. It's not a bass cut or anything like that. It's actually adding more bass, so that's why I have it set low here, because yeah, if you turn it to the middle, it's actually adding more bass. And the same thing with the Euphoria. Euphoria's tone, bass, volume, and gain. The bass is actually adding more bass, so it's very similar to the Timmy in that operation. So yeah, you guys just heard the Timmy in all settings, and the Euphoria also has 3 settings called Smooth, Open, and Crunch. Yeah, just like the Timmy has 3 settings, right? Bass, clip, and gain. And the Euphoria 3 settings, Smooth, Open, and Crunch. So yeah, I'm probably just going to set it the same as the Timmy here. Volume at noon, gain at noon, tone at noon, and then bass kind of at 9 o'clock there. So yeah, because bass is actually adding more bass, so I don't want to put that too high. And I'll try out the clip position and the Timmy, and the smooth position is actually the Dumble, the most Dumble type position, I guess, or the position where you get the most Dumble type sounds. Open position, where you have, I guess, more gain on tap, I guess, and then crunch position has the most gain on tap. I guess the crunch position might be similar to the gain switch on the Timmy, and clip might be similar to open. And I guess smooth doesn't really have an equivalent on the Timmy. It's just its own thing on the Euphoria. Anyways, we can compare them all, okay? So again, clean tone. Smooth position on the Euphoria. Definitely has more gain on tap at the same settings compared to Timmy. Okay, open position. Sounds more raw on the open position. Smooth, I mean, yeah, it definitely smooth rolls off, I guess, some of the highs, I think, to make it sound warmer and creamier. Open is more of a rawer sound, and crunch is just higher. Yeah, what you guys notice is definitely the Euphoria has more gain on tap compared to the Timmy at the exact same settings, right? So Timmy sings that. Yeah, not as much, and then Euphoria. Yeah, Euphoria is a higher gain circuit in general compared to the Timmy. But that doesn't mean it's not as versatile as the Timmy, because we can actually just dial down. Let's dial down the gain. You know, if I dial down the gain, maybe we can dial it in to sound similar. Okay, here's the Timmy again. At Timmy, I can set the gain at just about noon. Euphoria. Dial back to down the gain. So now you guys can see it sounds kind of similar, right? If I dial back the gain on the Euphoria, then it's about the same as the gain on the at noon on the Timmy. Yeah, I'm just going to clip in position on the Timmy. I think that's the position I normally have. But actually, if I put in the gain position, maybe I can match the Euphoria more. Euphoria. Whoops. Okay, let's try again. Euphoria. Sounds like the Euphoria has more clarity compared to the Timmy. Timmy seems to be a little bit more muffled sounding. Not sure on the gain position. Yeah, Euphoria definitely has more clarity than the Timmy does. Timmy is like, it's interesting. It sounds like muffled on the gain. It doesn't sound that great, actually. Maybe it's... Actually, this setting, it sounds almost more similar to my Blackbox. So it sounds more like a bluesbreaker style pedal in the gain position. I will try my Blackbox, actually. Yeah, okay, I see. Yeah, so the Timmy on the gain position sounds closer to a Marshall Bluesbreaker Blackbox type of thing. Yeah, the gain is like, the gain setting on the switch, it sounds closer to a Marshall Bluesbreaker circuit, honestly. Interesting. Put it back to clip. Euphoria. Okay, interesting, yeah. So the Timmy on the clip position, it sounds sort of similar to the open position, the Euphoria, if I dial back the gain on the Euphoria. So because the Euphoria naturally has more gain than the Timmy does. If I dial back the gain on the Euphoria, then it sounds roughly similar to gain in middle position on the clip setting on the Timmy. If I turn it over to the gain setting, the Timmy turns into more of a bluesbreaker type of sound, adding more like a low end to it. Or rolling off the highs, whatever you want to think of it. If I put crunch position here. Yeah, not the same. Euphoria definitely, it has more crunch, right, on this setting, but it's not trying to be a bluesbreaker circuit. Interesting. The Timmy just turns into a bluesbreaker circuit. Bass setting. Let's try. Not sure if the bass has any equivalent in the Euphoria. So the bass setting, I think, it might be just unique to the Timmy. Euphoria has a smooth position, which is unique to the Euphoria. This is that Dumble setting here. The Dumble setting is that smooth position. So interesting. Anyways, these are both fairly transparent overdrive pedals. It's just that the Euphoria is inherently higher gain compared to the Timmy. Also has the smooth position, which is more of a Dumble inspired tone. The Timmy doesn't have an equivalent. The crunch setting is more just it still like retains the clarity, but it just adds more gain. But it retains the clarity, whereas on the Timmy's higher gain setting, it adds more low end, like a Marshall Bluesbreaker type circuit. Like if you compare to my Snouse Blackbox, which I'll turn on now, you guys can hear the similarities, right? So yeah, if you put it on the gain setting on the Timmy, it sounds more like a Bluesbreaker circuit. And then on the clip setting and the open setting is where the Euphoria and the Timmy sounds the most similar, in my opinion. Yeah, Euphoria. I think at whatever setting, the Euphoria just has more clarity. But just won't add any. I'll just like totally turn the bass down a little bit more. Euphoria. What if I add up the bass? I guess this is the most similar I can make it sound. Yeah, Euphoria naturally has more highs, or retains more highs, I guess. It just naturally has more clarity compared to the Timmy, so Timmy had to dial down the bass, so we don't introduce any bass. And the Euphoria, in order to make it sound more similar to the Timmy, I actually had to add a little bit of bass here, interestingly, so. Probably the most similar I can get to sound. Yeah, so the Timmy just inherently is adds a little bit more low end, or rolls off a little bit of high end, so I had to add a little bit of bass on the Euphoria, turn down the gain on the Euphoria since it has inherently more gain too, and then have this on the clip position, this on the open position, then I can finally get it to sound kind of similar to each other. But both of these are very transparent, right? You guys can hear it doesn't mess with my guitar tone that much at all. So they're both great pedals. It really depends on just what you need, right? If you guys want, like, they're both very versatile, transparent pedals. It's just that if you guys want a more higher gain with a little bit more high end and clarity, then the Euphoria is more of that. The Timmy is if you want more of a lower light gain, and if you want a little bit more low end, then Timmy has a bit more of that. And I think that's probably what I'll say the main differences between these two are. Timmy is lower gain, inherently has a little bit more low end, or rolls off a little bit more high end, or whatever you want to call it. And then the Euphoria inherently is a little bit more, has a little bit more clarity or high end, and it's inherently higher gain as well. So anyways, but both very transparent, versatile overdrive pedals. I'm glad to have both on my pedal board. I can even stack them. Let's actually see, like, again, just the Timmy. Euphoria. Stacking them. They work great stack too, guys. And clean tone here. Timmy only. Euphoria only. Both stacked. Yeah, they work pretty great stacked as well, honestly. Pretty good. Also, I want to note that, yeah, also the Euphoria, if you turn it to smooth, sounds more like a D style pedal, I guess, with a more dumble, touch sensitive, smoother, creamier type of tone. The Timmy, if you move it to the gain setting, sounds more like a Marshall Bluesbreaker type of circuit, so you get a little bit more low end there with that crunchiness, right? So yeah, that's interesting. So those are the two unique modes that these two have that the other doesn't, for sure. In Euphoria, if I turn up the gain a lot on this. Yeah, it's pretty high gain. I don't think the Timmy can really do that I mean, sure, if I put it, well, Timmy can definitely do maybe medium gain, but Euphoria can actually really get into much higher gain, right? Gain setting, Timmy. Nah, Timmy can't do it. Yeah, Timmy is really just for light to medium gain. Yeah, it cannot really go into the near distortion level territory that Euphoria can. Euphoria is really, really versatile, can really do anything from a light gain to yeah, to near distortion level, I would say. So but Euphoria, I think, has a bit more range. Yeah, Timmy is really just for light to medium gain. So yeah, guys, that's a comparison of all these different quote-unquote transparent overdrive pedals. They're all transparent, but in different ways. I guess they all retain your guitar tone, but all have their own unique characteristics as well. So yeah, the MXR Timmy, Wampler Euphoria, Blackbox Overdrive 2, or the Fairfield Barbershop. Let me know which ones you guys prefer in the comment section below. And yeah, that's it. As always, guys, thanks for watching.